Hello, 8th grade advanced math students. This is Miss Richardson. We are into the 4th week of virtual learning. Can you guys believe it? September is going to be over before we know it. So this is for the week of September 14th through the 18th. You guys are in the geometry unit. You are creating some transformations. You're taking an original figure and you are either translating it, meaning you're sliding it, or you're rotating it, which means you turned it, or you're reflecting it, which means that you flip it over one of the axes, either the x-axis or the y-axis, or you're going to change the size of a figure by dilating it. So lots of stuff going on in the geometry unit. So I just wanted to talk to you about this week. First thing, our Zoom meeting on Wednesday. It's on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. So we're going to go over more specifically some of these lessons. You do have a practice test this week. So I just want to meet with you guys, make sure you come to the Zoom meeting on Wednesday so we can review and make sure you guys are ready to take your practice test this week and then your unit test next week. So next Monday, the 21st, or maybe we'll review on the 21st and we'll probably have your test next Tuesday, the 22nd. All right, so let me share the screen with you guys. So this is what you're going to do this week. And I decided I would go ahead and date things so that if you stay on this schedule, if you do these assignments these days, then that means that you'll be done with your math assignments by Friday. And you didn't have to spend, more than an hour each day in your math lessons. Of course, you get to decide whether or not you're going to follow the schedule. Everything is set to be due by Sunday, but that's only if you like having weekend homework or weekend schoolwork. So it's up to you. So this week you're going to look at, so today's Monday the 14th, you're going to look at similar figures. So similar figures versus congruent figures. Congruent figures means they're the same shape, same size. Similar figures means they're the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. So if you have two similar triangles, you can have a big triangle and a small triangle. But two things that's true about the similar triangles are the corresponding angles. Good morning, Falcon. Those corresponding angles are exactly the same measurement. Okay, so even though one triangle is smaller than another, the angle measurements are exactly the same. So we're going to look at transversals. So for example, let's say you have two parallel lines, and then you have a line that intersects both of them. That is a transversal. And so when you have two parallel lines and a line that intersects them both, that you then have all these different angles. So you have some same side angles, you have some alternative angles, let's see, interior, alternate, interior. Yeah, alternate angles. And so you guys are going to figure out what type of angles are congruent and which type of angles are supplementary, which means together they equal 180 degrees. So you'll be looking at that. You're going to look at triangle angles. And then on Thursday, I've given you a transformation review. Hopefully you guys have the capacity to print, because this is a sheet I want you to print and actually write on, practicing all of the transformations. And then finally, you'll have your practice test. I know it says Module 2 practice test, but just ignore that. This is our first unit. This is your first practice test. And then, like I said, we'll review next Monday, which is the 21st, and we'll take your test on the 22nd. So let's look at, I'm going to go into this week, September 14th through 18th. So I have taken a picture of everything I want you to do, just what we looked at right now. You're going to find this video right here. It's not finished yet. Obviously, I'm making it. And then I've given you guys some helpful transformation rules. So I'm going to show you how that can help you. And then finally at the bottom of the the bottom of the page, this is our information on our Zoom meeting this Wednesday, the 16th at 10 o'clock. And then also, I've given you guys, let me go to student view. Student view. Nope, that's not what I picked. Be patient. Be patient. All right, student view. I'm doing all of this to show you one little tab right there. So if you forget, oh, I forgot when our Zoom meeting is this week, and I forgot the link, and I forgot the password, well, you can click right here and it takes you. So all you have to do is click on, please click here to join our Zoom meeting. Remember, it is on Wednesday at 10, and the password is always going to be math 8. Okie dokie. All right. So anyway, going back to what I was saying about those transformation rules. So let me pull it up again. So let me show you how this is going to help you. So I am going to pull up my whiteboard in just a second. We're going to talk about, let's say we have a triangle on a coordinate plane, and they're going to conduct a combined transformation to it. For example, we can say that it is rotated 90 degrees clockwise, and then it's reflected over the x-axis. So this notation is telling you what's going to happen to the coordinates. So for example, if this is our coordinate right here, and let's say there's a point at 1, 2 on the coordinate plane. So from the origin, you go right 1 and up 2. And then if I turn that figure 180 degrees, what would the new coordinate be? Well, this tells me once I turn it 180 degrees, that whatever my values were, my coordinates were, I'm going to make them both the opposite sign. So if my first point was at 1, 2, and I rotated 180 degrees, my new coordinate is then -1, -2. So if this is A, point A, this will be A prime, okay? And we would find it in the third quadrant on a coordinate plane. All right, so let me pull up my whiteboard so we can look at one, just a second. All right, unfortunately I don't have a coordinate plane, but I'm just gonna have to draw one, which of course is not gonna be perfect. I don't write so well on here. All right, so let's say we have a triangle over here in quadrant 1. And let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll do, it's hard to eyeball this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's terrible. These should be exactly the same distance apart, and obviously they're not. So, but just for an example, let's look at point A. So A originally is about 2, 2. I don't like that. Let me make these further apart. All right, go away. All right, let me try this again, you guys. Thank you guys for being patient with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's maybe a little better. All right, so this point right here, if I go from the origin, go right 2 up 1, I find A. So that means the coordinate is 2, 1, right? And then we'll go ahead and look at point C. So C is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1. And we're not gonna write down B, but you see it up there. So let's say we're doing 2 transformations. We're gonna say that first we're gonna rotate 90 degrees clockwise, which clockwise goes this way, right? If we turn this figure 90 degrees clockwise, the rule from that sheet is that we start with our original coordinate, we transform it, and then what happens is that Y comes to the front, the X goes to the back, and the X actually changes signs. All right, so how does that help us? Well, let's look at letter A. So letter A is at 2, 1. This tells me we're going to take 2, we're going to put it to the back. So what is A prime? We're going to take our 2, we're going to pull it in the back, and it becomes negative, and that 1 actually becomes our first coordinate. So 1, -2. So now if I'm not one of these visual people that can imagine what it's going to look like when I turn it, I can do this, and I can go, oh, okay, well, I know exactly where that is. So that means that A prime is now at 1, -2. So this is now A prime. All right, what about C? Well, C is at 4, 1. So when I rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, my 4 goes to the back and becomes the opposite sign, and my Y value comes to the front and becomes my X value. So C prime is now at 1, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's C prime. And then B is going to be the same thing. It's going to, if this is 1, 2, 3 units long, this is going to be 1, 2, 3 units long. And there's B prime, there's C prime, and there's A prime. Now, when you're done, now obviously my spaces are different lengths, you know, they're not exactly the same. But when you rotate, translate, or reflect something, your picture should be the exact same size and shape. So you are creating a congruent figure. All right, so now, like I said, we're going to do a combined transformation. So not only rotating 90 degrees clockwise, but also we're going to reflect over the x-axis. Whoops, I don't know how to spell axis. All right, so the rule for that on that little picture I showed you on the transformation rules says that when you reflect over the x-axis, the x coordinate doesn't change, but the y becomes the opposite sign. All right, I've not given myself enough space because now I need an A double prime. All right, so that means that now we're going to take this image. So this is my original, this is my image, and I'm going to now reflect this over the x-axis. So that means it's going to flip from here to here. So now instead of having 1, -2, we're going to have 1, +2. I didn't think this through. I should have done the y-axis because it's going to be laying on top of this one. So let me do the y-axis. Let me get rid of this. All right, so if we're going over the y-axis, this time the x changes signs and the y coordinate doesn't change, okay? So that means we're gonna reflect this thing over here, and I said that wrong earlier. When I said x-axis, I said we're reflecting it over here, but that's not true, it would have gone up. So now the x coordinate, which is +1, becomes -1, and my y coordinate doesn't change. So I'll squeeze it up here. So my A double prime coordinate is going to be -1, -2. That means it's going to be -1, -2. So now that's A double prime. And then we have C double prime, same thing. It's going to become -1, -4. -1, -4. And when you reflect, everything's always the same distance from your line of reflection. In this case, it's the y-axis. So if this is 1 space to the right, this one's going to be 1 space to the left once I reflect it. And then my B is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 from the y-axis. So B double prime is going to be 4 to the left. 1, 2, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. So it's like a mirror image. Okay? So sometimes you'll have a problem where it'll give you the first image and it'll give you basically the second image, the original picture, and then it'll skip this part and it'll just show you the picture that's been transformed twice, and you have to figure out what 2 transformations have happened. Well, if you're not sure, you know, maybe those rules can help you. So you can look at the rules and you can go, well, I started here and then I ended up at these coordinates. Which rules are going to get me from this coordinate to this coordinate? And if you look at the rules, hopefully that'll help you realize that first this figure had to be rotated 90 degrees clockwise, and then it had to be reflected over the y-axis. All right, so I know that was a little confusing probably because you haven't actually looked at those lessons yet, but you will, and maybe that will help you a little bit. So maybe you can come back to that example later on in the week. And also we'll talk about it on Wednesday in our Zoom meeting. So you guys do your work. Make sure you don't get behind on your assignments. Reach out to me when you have questions. I will be happy to help you. I will message you. I will have a Zoom meeting with you, whatever I need to do to help you guys. But you have to make sure you're doing your part as well. Read throughout the lessons. Don't skip anything. Read every page. Try every practice problem. Watch every video. And if you do those things consistently, you're going to be able to be successful as a virtual student. Okay? All right, so I will see you guys on Wednesday. If you need me before then, you know how to reach me. And I hope everyone has a great week. So I will see you soon. Goodbye.